Welcome back to a farm west of Boring, where life is anything but boring. Well, if you've been following along with us for the last couple of weeks, you'll know that we had a tree fall into our house. It was a large pine tree that was planted off the backyard of our house by my dad probably 60 years ago. In the windstorm that we had 2 weeks ago, it was blown over and went right into our house. And I was sitting at the table right here. I wasn't playing Scrabble, but I was sitting right over there, actually texting with my niece in Germany. I was sending her a text telling her that we had plenty of firewood. Suddenly I jumped out of the chair and landed back over there, and my wife screamed, and we looked up. It sounded like a freight train had hit the house, and we looked up and there's a big hole in the ceiling there, and smoke alarms were going crazy. We didn't know what happened. So started looking around. I thought, well, maybe it was just a limb hit the, fell out of the tree and hit the roof. But then we looked out over the front here, and there's our cats. Hi, hello kitties. And looked up there in the eave there, and there were just branches and all kinds of stuff hanging down over the roof. And there's some of the leftovers from that tree that are down there in the yard. So we started going around the house and looking at things in the house here, and you can see that there's a big hole up there in the wall up there, and the picture was crooked, and started looking around. Then we went into the living room here and looked up there, and that ceiling board was hanging down, and I don't know if you can see it so much on the video, but those boards are all bowed down. And then you look here, there's a limb sticking through, and if you can tell or not, that this support post here that holds up this beam is out about, I'd say it's out about 1.5 inches away from the wall from where it was. And if you look really close, it's pretty dark, I don't think you can tell, but right in there, there's a crack in that beam. That beam has cracked. Now those beams, that beam was put up years ago when my dad finished this room off with all this cedar paneling, and he put those up. Those are out of a barn that used to be on our property, a big huge barn that blew down in the 1962 Columbus Day storm here in Oregon, and so we had beams strewn all over the property. And my dad, being the wood lover that he was, he took an adze and he trimmed down these beams, fixed them up, put some finish on them, and put them up here in the living room as decorative beams. So you can see here through the rest of the living room, there's these beams up there, but they're strictly decorative, except for this one here. Obviously did a lot to hold up that tree. If that beam hadn't been there, I'm afraid that tree would have come right down through this wall here. So we were very fortunate. All that said, I am truly blessed to be alive today, because sitting right here at the table, if that tree had come down through this roof, it would have landed right here and probably would have crushed me. So I am quite thankful for that. Let's go outside and we'll look around and do a little analysis of what's outside. Oh, I'll show you this too. That light, we had 3 pendant lights here, and this one here was cockeyed. So we knew something had hit it, and when it started raining, we started getting a few drips out of that down here onto the counter. And so I cut that open the other day just to see what it was. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'll try to do a close-up. There's a limb that came through right next to that light box, and right next, there's wires there. It missed the wires and it just nicked the light box. So we were getting water through there, and then the water would run down and cause that piece of sheetrock to fall down. And then we also got water down here. So it started coming down the wall, and then of course then it started coming out of this outlet here a little bit. So I don't think there's really much damage. There was some water in there. We put a fan. I've got a fan up there going, which is blowing air up into that cavity. That's a closed cell polyurethane foam insulation. And that fan is blowing air up through that to try to make sure that that sheetrock is good and dry. So let's go outside and check it out. What's outside? Well, here we are at the garage door, and luckily I don't think there's any damage to this garage. But here's the tree that finally got lifted down off of the roof with that crane the other day. You might have seen, if you didn't see that video, go back and check that video where it shows the crane lifting this tree off the roof. This is all stuff that we cut up off of the end of the tree when it was up on the roof, and then just threw it down here to get it off the roof. And there is our chimney cap. It got hammered. There's the roof that we've got tarped off. Looks like the tarp is holding up reasonably well. At least it's not leaking inside for right now. And I had to take the tractor and move all these totes with firewood. They were all stacked in here. I got them out of there before the tree got let down, and so I got them up there before the crane was here. But you can see that the ground has been soft because it was frozen, and then we had rain, and so obviously I got this torn up a little bit. 33 inches. That's 33 inches diameter. And I would say that's at about breast height. If you were standing on the ground when that was standing, it's about 33 inches breast height. And that log right there is 44 feet long from here up to the house. Oh, there's our crazy cat up on the roof. What are you doing up there? So that's 44 feet long. I'm trying to figure out what to do with this thing. I have a feeling that what I'm going to try to do is cut this first section into about an 8.5 foot piece, and then maybe some 10-foot pieces, and then maybe a 12-foot piece. That would be about 44. Let's see, 10, 20, 30. So yeah, something that would come out to be about 44 feet long. And then the challenge is going to be getting these things out of here, dragging them out of here without getting them too muddy. So let's go around to the front of the house and we'll see what's out there. Well, let's go up here and check out the tarping. This is the tarping that a couple of roofing guys came by and did the other day. Once they got all the limbs and stuff off of here, they went ahead and covered this up with these. Yeah, they're okay, I guess. Here's the tarp we put up in the middle of an ice storm. Again, you can see the roof. The tree basically took that all down right there and was laying down inside there. We cut that out of there, but it obviously crushed all the rafters in this section down flat on the ceiling, which then raised up the tail end of those rafters, so you can see how much it's lifted up here from this point up over and then to where the tree was laying in there in that hollow over there. So be interested to see how this is holding up over here. And there is that limb that's sticking through the wall inside down in the living room. But it looks like the tarp is holding up okay. I'm worried it's going to break off at that point up there, or it's going to rip on that point. I can see right now, we had a piece of foam in that on the top up there, which hopefully would keep that from ripping, but it looks like we might be getting some ripping now. I don't know. It wouldn't be the end of the world because we have the second tarp underneath there, so if it did get in there, it would just come down on that tarp. So I guess it's not the worst. This was the bad part we had, where there was water coming down here and then going under the log, and there was a whole bunch of ice and snow packed underneath the log, and then that's what was dripping down inside in next to that light inside. So not sure if this will hold up forever, but it'll hold up for now, I guess. And then this tarp here, the black tarp, that's an old billboard tarp, and that's what's on the back side of that billboard tarp. It's not fitness, it's life, it says. And we have a couple of gouges. That's not so bad. There was a pretty good gouge here. So that's what it looks up here. Now we'll go down in front. So here's our next tree that's on my agenda. This is a Douglas fir tree, but it's got a lot of limbs that are coming off, and that's what I'm afraid of, is if that were to come over here, it's going to hit the garage roof or hit the car, and then that cottonwood poplar tree, whatever it is over there, I think we want to take that one down just to be safe. So this is what's left. This was pretty well cleaned up by the tree guys, and now this is what was remaining on the roof. It got thrown down again, so this is just all more limbs and stuff off of the roof. I'd rather have it down here than on the roof. And then there's a little bit more down there. These are logs that the crane lifted off of the roof and dropped down here. You'll see here that crane, that was a heavy crane. This is a trench that we dug a couple years ago across here to drain that basin. The old pipe across here was plugged up, and so I had to dig this up over to that point over there. Obviously that crane settled some of that dirt more than what 2 years worth of settling did. And here you can see too, pushed it down. Hopefully it didn't crush the pipe. And there's the remains of what was on the roof. So we're really thankful, we're really blessed that this didn't turn out any worse than it did. Believe me, I could have been crushed by that tree if it had gone through the ceiling and on into the main part of the floor there. I would have been right underneath it. So I'm really thankful for that. I guess we'll sign off. That'll do it for today. Next week we'll get out and probably do some more cleaning up, and maybe try to get that large log cut up into some pieces so we can get that thing down there to the mill. And there it is, the mill right down there. We'll get it done. The wind did take its toll on my tarp. I had a tarp across the front of the mill shed, and that wind did pretty much rip that tarp to pieces, so I'm gonna have to replace that. So thanks a lot for coming along. If you haven't seen those videos of us in the ice storms working on that tree, go back and take a look at them. They're definitely interesting. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel. We really could use a couple hundred more subscribers. We appreciate everybody who has subscribed so far. It means a lot to us, and more subscribers would be more the merrier. Thank you very much. Bye.